Family planning provides educational and clinical services that help couples choose how many children to have and when to have them. This service can be provided worldwide to a varied amount of countries. This is all in an effort to reduce the worldwide birth rate, number of abortions, and deaths from pregnancy, which is a big problem today. Each dollar that is spent on family planning saves $10 to $16 that would be paid for unwanted children, that unwanted health care, and things that go along with unwanted births. In less developed countries, there's a large need for family planning since 42% of all pregnancies are unplanned and 26% of these end in abortion. In the U.S., actually, it's also very, very problematic since half of all pregnancies are unplanned. If there was an easier way for family planning services and the ability to access contraception, this would prevent 52 million unwanted pregnancies each year, which you could imagine can reduce the worldwide population greatly. Actually, by 2050, with this possible family planning, it would reduce the projected population by 1 billion. And more efforts for family planning are being sought out to include many teenagers that need these lessons for how to plan out how many kids they want or when they need it, and what is best suited for them, as well as women, especially in less developed countries where they don't have the same rights as women would do in more developed countries such as the U.S. or European countries. India is a big problem right now for exponential growth of population in the world. They had started modest family planning efforts back in 1952, and they started out with a population of only 400 million. But since then, by 2010, they now have a population of 1.2 billion, which is the second most populated country in the world right now, right behind China. In India, 32% of their population is under 15. They're at a pre-reproductive stage right now, but in the coming decades, once they reach reproductive age, this can be a very bad thing for India, since their population will continue to grow exponentially once this generation starts being able to have kids. Another problem in India is their large poverty. A quarter of all India's urban population live in slums, and despite China being another very impoverished country, its poverty rate is only half that of India. India also suffers from, as said before, poverty, malnutrition, and a wide variety of environmental problems. And these problems will worsen as the population grows, which it is projected to do so. It has no sign of slowing down, just continues to grow exponentially. Another problem is that many of the impoverished families that live in India will typically have more children than the more educated middle class and upper class of India. This is typically due to the need for more labor force, more kids that are working have the possibility of making more money for the family and providing for the family. And India also has a culture based on male-dominated society. So many families will keep having children until they have at least one or more male children, and only 48% of the population uses birth control, despite 9 out of 10 people in India that have access to this birth control, uh, which they do not know anything about because their family planning is very modest and not very helpful and hasn't been doing so well. Uh, uh, India suffers from degraded cropland, which is a problem for the majority of the rural community of India, which the majority of its population lives in rural societies. Also, 2/3 of their water supply is polluted. That causes a problem for access to healthy drinking water. And a good cause of this is their inadequate sanitation, where they don't have uh, a proper place to. Many people don't have a proper place to use the bathroom or even clean themselves on a regular basis. They also have severe air pollution that's most likely result from their growing technology and industrial society. It is known that India's economic growth is accelerating. This could be bad in the way that it increases the ecological footprint of India and the world as well. But it could be good because it could slow the population growth, since the more money that people have, the more educated they could be, and the more educated they could be on family planning and how to live sustainably in their society. All of this is unknown right now. It will need to wait and see.